The massive screens aboard the collective's defense station lit up with warning signals. 3 operators with gray skin and large eyes stared at the readings in disbelief. Something was approaching their outer defense line, but it wasn't following any known flight patterns. The object moved like no ship they had ever seen before. The lead operator pressed his hand against the communication panel. "High Command, we have an unknown contact approaching Sector 7. The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database." In the darkness of space, the Earth warship Resilient cut through the void. Its dark hull absorbed nearby starlight, making it look like a moving shadow against the stars. Inside the bridge, Captain Marcus Thompson stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the main view screen with calm eyes. "Status report," he called out to his crew. The bridge hummed with activity as officers worked at their stations, each focused on their tasks with practiced ease. "We're picking up multiple artificial structures ahead, Captain," the sensor officer reported. "They appear to be some kind of monitoring stations. Definitely not natural." Thompson nodded slowly. After decades of space exploration, humanity had finally found proof of alien life. But he knew first contact situations were dangerous. One wrong move could start a war. "Open all communication channels," he ordered. "Let's make sure they know we come in peace." The Resilience communication array activated, sending out greeting messages in every format humans had developed for potential first contact. Thompson had studied these protocols countless times, but now, facing the real situation, his heart beat faster than he wanted to admit. Aboard the collective station, the operators watched in growing panic as their systems tried to process the incoming signals. The unknown ship was broadcasting something, but the patterns were chaotic by their standards. Where they expected to see the pure, harmonious frequencies used by all civilized species, they detected what seemed like intentional disorder. "It must be a weapon," one operator said, his voice shaking. "No proper civilization would use such unstable patterns." The lead operator made a quick decision. "Activate the defense grid. Alert all nearby patrol ships. We can't risk letting it get closer." Back on the Resilient, Thompson's crew detected the power surge from the alien stations. "Captain, they're powering up some kind of energy grid," the tactical officer reported. "Multiple ships are also moving to intercept us." Thompson frowned. Something had gone wrong, but he couldn't tell what. "Hold position," he ordered. "Keep broadcasting the greeting messages. Show them we're not making any aggressive moves." The alien ships emerged from behind their stations, sleek vessels that gleamed with a metallic purple sheen. They moved in perfect formation, surrounding the Resilient in a display of coordination that would have impressed Earth's best naval commanders. "Sir, they're charging weapons," the tactical officer announced, tension clear in his voice. Thompson stood straighter. "Raise shields, or should we power up the absorption arrays?" he asked his tactical officer, keeping his voice steady to maintain crew morale. "Absorption arrays might be better, sir. We don't know what kind of weapons they use. The arrays can adapt to unknown energy types better than the shields." Thompson gave a sharp nod. "Activate the arrays, but keep our weapons powered down. We're not here to fight." The Resilient's hull began to shimmer slightly as thousands of microscopic energy-absorbing panels activated. It was humanity's greatest defensive innovation. Instead of trying to block enemy attacks, the arrays could capture the energy and redirect it to the ship's systems. The aliens took this subtle change as confirmation of their fears. To them, the shifting surface of the human ship looked like some kind of weapon powering up. Their sensors couldn't make sense of the technology, which only increased their panic. "The alien vessel is activating unknown systems," the collective's lead operator reported to his superiors. "We cannot identify the technology. It matches nothing in our records." The response from High Command was immediate. "Hostile contact. Human forces detected. Warship incoming. All units engage emergency containment protocols. The harmony of the collective must be preserved." Thompson watched as the alien ships began to move into attack positions. He could feel the weight of history on his shoulders. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become a fight for survival, all because of a misunderstanding he couldn't even identify yet. "All hands," he announced shipwide. "Prepare for defensive operations. Let's show our new friends that humanity knows how to survive their welcome." The first blast from the alien ship struck the Resilient's port side. Instead of exploding or piercing the hull, the energy weapon's beams seemed to splash across the surface like water on glass. The crew watched in amazement as the ship's absorption arrays turned purple with captured power. "Energy absorption at 30% capacity and rising," reported the engineering officer. "Their weapons are incredibly efficient, Captain. Pure energy with almost no waste." Thompson allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had clearly expected their attack to cripple his ship. Instead, the Resilient was literally eating their energy for breakfast. "Route the captured power to our secondary systems. Let's show them something interesting." The alien fleet commanders watched in horror as their initial barrage had no effect. The human ship's hull sparkled with their weapons' energy, but showed no signs of damage. Nothing in their combat databases suggested this was possible. "Impossible," the lead commander transmitted to his fleet. "All ships, increase power to maximum. The vessel must be using some kind of trick. No defense can absorb a full power strike." The alien ship's engines flared bright as they poured more power into their weapons. The space around the Resilient lit up like a miniature sun as multiple energy beams struck it from all directions. The human crew felt their ship shudder, but the absorption arrays continued their work. "Array capacity at 70%, engineering reported. "They're giving us more power than we can store safely, sir." Thompson nodded. "Time to show them why picking a fight with humans isn't smart. Tactical. Target their lead ship's engines with a fraction of their own energy. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine." The Resilience arrays shifted, forming a focused point on its bow. A beam of purple energy, the same color as the alien weapons, shot out and struck the lead alien ship's engine section. The alien vessel's shields, designed to block physical impacts and standard energy weapons, didn't recognize the modified frequency of their own energy. The beam passed through their defenses like they weren't even there. Alarms blared throughout the alien fleet as they watched their flagship's engines shut down. The human ship had somehow turned their own weapon against them, something their tactical computers claimed was theoretically impossible. "All ships, break formation." The alien commander ordered, his voice shaking. "They can redirect our attacks. Standard combat protocols are useless." The alien fleet scattered, their perfect formation breaking apart as each ship tried to find a new attack angle. But their movement only made things worse. They started hitting each other with their own weapons as they tried to strike the Resilient from different directions. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "I'm detecting something odd about their ships. They're all using exactly the same technology. Even their evasive maneuvers are identical." Thompson moved to the tactical station and studied the readings. "You're right. It's like they're all running the same program. No variations in design or tactics at all." He tapped his chin thoughtfully. "That's not natural. Even Earth's most standardized ships have differences." The Resilience sensors officer spoke up. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions between their ships. Their command structure seems to be breaking down. They keep repeating something about impossible technology and violation of standard patterns." Thompson made a quick decision. He opened a channel to his crew. "All hands, battle stations. But remember, we're not here to destroy them. Target engines and weapons only. Let's show them that humans know how to win without unnecessary destruction." The Resilient began to move, its hull still glowing with absorbed energy. The alien ships tried to coordinate their attacks, but each time they fired, the human ship simply absorbed their shots and used the power to disable another attacker. It was like watching a martial artist use an opponent's strength against them. One by one, the alien ships lost power to their main systems. Their perfect formation had become a scattered mess of drifting vessels. The collective's warriors, used to fighting with overwhelming force and standardized tactics, had no defense against human adaptability. In the chaos, none of them noticed that the Resilient was herding their disabled ships into a defensive formation, protecting them from the debris of their own battle. Even in victory, the humans were showing a kind of warfare the aliens had never seen before, one where protecting your enemy was just as important as defeating them. With the alien ships disabled but safely gathered in a protective formation, Lieutenant Anna West prepared for the hardest part of her job. As the Resilient's diplomatic officer, she had to somehow turn this battle into a chance for peace. "Translation software is ready," she told Captain Thompson. "We've analyzed their communications during the battle. The computer should be able to handle basic conversation now." Thompson looked at the gathered alien ships on his view screen. "Open a channel to their lid vessel. Let's try talking again, now that we have their attention." The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien commander. His gray skin and large eyes made him look almost fragile, but there was clear intelligence in his gaze. The alien's first words, now translated, surprised everyone on the bridge. "Why do you protect us after defeating us? This does not match any known combat protocol." Anna stepped forward. "Because that's what humans do. We fight when we must, but we don't seek to destroy unless there's no other choice." She paused, choosing her next words carefully. "We came here to meet new civilizations, not to harm them." The alien commander's large eyes blinked rapidly. "Your species develops weapons but shows mercy. You master chaos but maintain order. This is not possible according to the Great Pattern." As Anna and the commander talked, other crew members worked to understand the aliens' technology. Chief Engineer Miller had made an interesting discovery. He sent his findings to the bridge, and Thompson read them with growing interest. "Your ships," Thompson said, joining the conversation, "they're all exactly the same. Every system, every component, perfect copies. Why?" The commander seemed confused by the question. "All civilized species follow the pattern. Technology must be standardized to maintain harmony. Your ship," he paused, "your ship follows no pattern we recognize. It should not function, yet it does." Anna's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "Captain," she said quietly, "I don't think they invented their own technology. Everything they have seems to follow some kind of preset design." The alien commander overheard her. "Of course, all proper technology comes from studying the pattern left by the ancestors. To develop technology without the pattern leads to chaos and destruction. Yet, he looked at his readings of the Resilient, yet your chaos ship protected us. This contradicts all known social theories." Thompson stepped closer to the screen. "Where we come from, different ideas and approaches make us stronger, not weaker. Every human ship is unique because we believe in learning from our differences." The alien crew members visible in the background were clearly discussing something with great agitation. Their commander turned to listen to them, then faced the humans again with what seemed like confusion. "Our sensors show your ship has no unified power grid like proper vessels. Your systems are divided, redundant, seemingly random. How can you trust such chaos?" Anna smiled. "Because that chaos means no single hit can take us down. If one system fails, others can take over. We call it redundancy, and it's saved our lives many times." This concept seemed to disturb and fascinate the aliens in equal measure. One of their scientists pushed forward to speak. "But the pattern teaches that unity is strength. One perfect system, copied exactly, maintains harmony. And if that one system has a flaw," Thompson asked, "what happens when something the pattern didn't predict appears?" The aliens fell silent. They had just experienced exactly that. Their perfect, standardized weapons had been useless against humanity's chaotic but adaptable defense systems. Anna saw her chance. "Perhaps we could learn from each other. You could teach us about this pattern, and we could show you why sometimes breaking the pattern leads to new discoveries." The alien commander seemed to struggle with this idea. "The High Council must be consulted." This is unprecedented. A species that embraces chaos yet achieves greatness. It contradicts all social development theories. Thompson nodded. Take your time. We'll help repair your ships while you consider our offer. Actions speak louder than words, after all. The aliens watched in continued amazement as human engineering teams began helping restore power to their disabled vessels. Each human seemed to have their own way of doing things, yet somehow they all worked together effectively. It was like watching ordered chaos in motion, and it challenged everything the collective believed about civilization and progress. While the diplomatic talks continued, Chief Engineer Miller and his team worked alongside the alien engineers to repair their ships. As they worked, Miller noticed something strange about the alien technology. Every circuit, every component was marked with the same mysterious symbols, symbols that didn't seem to serve any practical purpose. These markings, Miller asked an alien engineer, what do they mean? The alien straightened with pride. They are the ancestors' guide marks. They show that these components followed the true pattern. He pointed to a complicated circuit. See, each piece must be made exactly as the pattern demands. Miller frowned as he studied the circuit. But this routing is inefficient. You could get better power flow by changing the layout. The alien's gray skin paled even further. Change the pattern. Impossible. The pattern is perfect. Miller pulled out his tablet and drew a quick diagram. Look here. If you reroute these connections, you could increase efficiency by 30%. He showed the alien his calculations. The alien stared at the numbers, his large eyes growing even wider. But the pattern doesn't explain why it must be this way, does it? Miller asked gently. It just tells you to build it like this. Before the alien could respond, alarms blared throughout their ship. One of the power cores they hadn't gotten to yet was starting to overload, a delayed reaction from the battle damage. The containment field is failing. The alien engineer cried, we must evacuate. The pattern gives no solution for this type of cascade failure. Miller was already moving. The pattern might not, but human engineering does. Get me access to your control systems. The alien hesitated only for a moment before giving Miller access. The human engineer's fingers flew across the alien control panel, rerouting power, bypassing safety systems that were actually making things worse, creating new connections that no pattern had ever suggested. What are you doing? The alien asked, watching in fascination as Miller broke every rule of proper engineering they had ever learned. Something the pattern never thought of. Miller replied, concentrating hard. Sometimes you have to work against standard procedure to solve a problem. The power core's whine began to decrease. On the monitoring screens, the energy levels slowly dropped back to safe levels. Miller had managed to create a temporary bypass that dispersed the excess energy through systems that were never meant to connect. But it worked. The alien engineering team gathered around Miller's jury-rigged solution, studying it with a mixture of horror and fascination. One of them finally spoke up. This solution, it breaks 17 fundamental rules of power management according to the pattern. But it works better than the original design. How is this possible? Miller wiped sweat from his forehead. Because the universe doesn't care about rules or patterns. It cares about what works. Humans learned that the hard way over centuries of trial and error. News of the incident spread quickly through the alien fleet. The human engineer had not only violated the pattern, but had done so to save an alien ship. More importantly, his chaotic solution worked better than the pattern's prescribed methods. On the Resilience Bridge, Captain Thompson received Miller's report with growing interest. So their entire technology base comes from copying some ancient designs. They never try to improve on them. Not just their technology, Anna added, looking up from her cultural analysis. Their whole society seems built around following preset patterns. Art, music, architecture. Everything has to follow specific rules left by these ancestors. Thompson scratched his chin thoughtfully. A civilization that gave up innovation in favor of stability. No wonder they panicked when they saw our ship. We probably look like chaos incarnate to them. Sir, the communications officer called out. We're receiving a priority transmission from the alien fleet's command station. They're requesting permission to study our engineering methods. Thompson smiled. Tell them we'd be happy to show them our ways if they're willing to share knowledge about these ancestors and their pattern. The alien commander's response came quickly. The High Council has agreed, though many protest. Your chaos thinking saved one of our ships in a way the pattern could not predict. Perhaps the pattern is not as complete as we believed. As engineering teams from both sides began to truly work together, something unprecedented was happening throughout the alien fleet. For the first time in their history, they were learning to question the pattern. The neat, orderly universe they had always known was changing, and deep down, they were starting to realize it was changing for the better. The peace didn't last long. A new fleet of alien ships appeared at the edge of the system, their engines burning hot with urgency. These weren't the same ships they had fought before. They were bigger, meaner, and their weapons were already charged. Captain, the sensor officer called out, the new ships are broadcasting some kind of signal to the disabled fleet. Their power systems are reactivating. But something's different. Thompson watched as the previously friendly alien ships suddenly turned their weapons toward the Resilient. On the communication screen, the alien commander's face showed deep regret. I am sorry, humans. The Council of Elders has declared your chaos thinking a threat to the pattern. All ships are being reset to combat protocols. We cannot resist. The screen went dark. Thompson gripped his chair as he saw the alien ships, both old and new, moving to surround them. They're being controlled remotely, he realized. The new ships are overriding their crew's control. The first wave of attacks came from all directions. This time, the alien weapons were different. They had modified their energy beams to pulse at random frequencies, trying to overwhelm the Resilience absorption arrays. Hull temperature rising. Engineering reported. They've studied our defense system. These new attacks are harder to absorb. Thompson smiled grimly. They learned from us. Now it's time to show them that humans never use the same trick twice. Activate the mirror protocol. The Resilience hull began to shift. The absorption arrays reorganized themselves, creating new patterns that the alien weapons hadn't seen before. As each blast hit, the arrays didn't just absorb the energy. They reflected it in random directions. The space around the human ship became a deadly light show. Energy beams bounced between ships, causing chaos in the perfectly ordered alien formation. Their standardized shields couldn't handle attacks coming from unexpected angles. Sir, Tactical reported, the alien crews are still in those ships. If we keep this up, they'll be caught in their own crossfire. Thompson nodded. Time for something crazy. Miller, remember that power distribution trick you used to save their ship? Can we do it bigger? Miller's voice came back excited. You want to hack their whole fleet. It's insane, but their systems are all identical. If we can crack one, we can crack them all. Do it, Thompson ordered. Anna, get ready with the translation software. When we break their control, I want to talk to those crews immediately. The Resilient took several direct hits, its hull glowing bright with absorbed energy. But while the aliens thought they were wearing down the human ship, Miller and his team were using that energy to power their craziest hack yet. Every bit of data they had learned about the alien technology, every violation of the pattern they had discovered, was being turned into a weapon. Not to destroy, but to free. Broadcasting now, Miller announced, using their own command frequency against them. Across the alien fleet, ships began to stop firing. The rigid, pattern-controlled movements faltered. On their bridges, crews regained control of their own ships as the remote commands were overwritten by human chaos code. The huge ships that had arrived to enforce the pattern found themselves unable to maintain formation. Their perfect coordination dissolved into confusion as each ship's computer system was infected with human unpredictability. We're receiving transmissions from multiple ships. Communications reported. They're They're cheering, sir. Thompson opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Captain Thompson. Your pattern tried to turn you against your own judgment. But we humans believe every person has the right to think for themselves. Your ships are yours again. What you do with them is your choice. The alien commander's face reappeared on screen, this time smiling. The pattern taught us that chaos leads to destruction. But you showed us that true strength comes from adapting, from thinking in new ways. Our ships are more powerful now than when they perfectly followed the pattern. Sir, Tactical interrupted. The new ships are powering down their weapons. They're requesting permission to learn our engineering methods too. Thompson looked at his crew, proud of how they had turned a battle into a revolution not through force, but through the very chaos that the aliens had feared. Tell them all engineers are welcome aboard. It's time they learned why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to think beyond the rules. Officer Robert Davis sat at his communication station, sifting through the massive amount of data they had collected from the alien ships. While everyone else celebrated their victory, something in the pattern's code had caught his attention. Hidden beneath layers of technical instructions, he found something strange, a message. "Captain," Davis called out, "I think you need to see this. The pattern isn't just a set of technical instructions. It's some kind of warning." Thompson moved to Davis's station, looking at the decoded text on the screen. The message was old, possibly thousands of years old, hidden so deep in the pattern that the aliens had never found it. The pattern was never meant to be followed forever, Davis explained, his eyes scanning the ancient text. It was supposed to be a starting point, not an eternal law. The ancestors left it as a safety measure, not a prison. The alien commander, who had come aboard the Resilient to discuss peace terms, rushed to look at the screen. His large eyes grew wider as he read the message in his own language. The message was simple but powerful. To those who find this pattern, it is not perfection, but protection. We hidden our true knowledge because we saw darkness coming. When you find those who can break the pattern, they are not your enemy. They are the ones we waited for. The alien commander's hands shook. All this time, we thought following the pattern perfectly was our purpose. But we were just waiting. Davis nodded, bringing up more decoded files. Your ancestors saw something coming, something that scared them. They locked away their most advanced technology and left the pattern as a safe path for your people to develop. They were protecting you until someone like us came along. Thompson finished. Someone who developed technology in a completely different way. The alien commander sank into a nearby chair, his entire understanding of history changing in moments. The pattern was a cage, but one built to protect us. And now you humans have shown us how to break free. More aliens gathered around Davis's station as he continued to decode the hidden message. The full truth began to emerge. The ancestors had been a highly advanced civilization that had discovered something terrifying in deep space. Instead of facing it unprepared, they had hidden their true technology and created the pattern to guide their descendants along a safe but limited path. "Look at these technical files," Miller said, joining them at the station. "The pattern's technology isn't just inefficient because of poor design. It's deliberately limited. Your ancestors had much more advanced technology, but they hid it all." The alien commander stood up straight, sudden understanding in his eyes. They were waiting for a species that could think differently, a species that could help us face whatever darkness they discovered. "Sir," the sensor officer called out suddenly, "I'm detecting some kind of signal. It's coming from inside the sun." Everyone rushed to their stations. Deep within the star system's sun, something was activating. The pattern in every alien ship responded, but not with the usual rigid controls. Instead, new information began flooding their databases. "It's some kind of key," Davis exclaimed, watching the data pour in. "The pattern recognized our chaos code as proof that we think differently. It's unlocking the ancestors' hidden knowledge." The alien commander read through the new information with growing excitement. These technologies, they're far beyond anything in the pattern, but they're not standardized or rigid. They're like your human designs, meant to be modified and improved. Thompson looked at the star on his view screen, thinking about what this meant. Your ancestors left you the pattern to keep you safe, but they left all their real knowledge waiting for the right moment. For when you met someone who could teach you to think beyond the pattern. The alien commander turned to Thompson, his expression serious. The darkness they feared is still out there, waiting. But now, thanks to humanity's chaos thinking, we can finally access the tools to face it. Together, all around them, alien ships were lighting up with new energy as ancient systems awakened. But unlike before, each ship's crew was already starting to modify and adjust the new systems, applying the human lessons they had learned about breaking from standard patterns. The real test of humanity's chaos and the aliens' order working together was about to begin. The next few days aboard the Resilient were unlike anything in human or alien history. As the ancestors' hidden knowledge poured in from the sun's ancient data vault, humans and aliens worked side by side to understand it. Every hour brought new discoveries that changed their understanding of the universe. "It's beautiful," Miller said, working with alien engineers to study the new technology. The ancestors didn't just leave advanced machines. They left technology that learns and grows with its users. No wonder they hid it until we were ready. But everything changed when Davis finally decoded the last part of the ancestors' message. His face went pale as he read it, and he immediately called for Captain Thompson. "Sir, we found what the ancestors were hiding from," Davis said, his voice shaking slightly. "There's something out there in deep space, heading this way. Something that destroys civilizations that follow predictable patterns." The alien commander joined them, reading the warning with growing concern. The darkness they feared. It hunts species that become too orderly, too predictable. That's why they created the pattern, to keep us hidden until we learn to be unpredictable. Thompson looked at the star map the ancestors had left. A massive thing was moving through space, consuming civilizations that had reached a certain level of technological development. But it ignored chaotic, unpredictable species, seeing them as too difficult to hunt. "Your people's rigid pattern would have made you perfect prey," Thompson said. "The ancestors knew that. They were protecting you until you could learn to be random, unpredictable, like humans." The alien commander nodded slowly. "And now we understand why. But this thing, this hunter, it's nearly here. The ancestors' calculations show it will reach this sector in less than a year." Thompson stood up straight, a plan already forming in his mind. "Then we have work to do. Your people know how to build perfect, efficient systems. My people know how to make those systems do the impossible. Together we can be something entirely new," the commander finished. "Not pure order, not pure chaos, but both." Over the next several hours, the combined fleet began to change. Human engineers taught the aliens how to modify their ships in random, unpredictable ways. Alien technicians showed humans how to make their chaotic systems more efficient without losing their adaptability. The Resilient itself was transformed. Its hull now shimmered with a combination of human absorption arrays and alien energy matrices, but no two sections were quite the same. It was beautiful in its controlled chaos, like a living thing. "The hunter won't expect this," Davis said, watching the fleet's transformation on his screens. "It's used to finding civilizations that either follow strict patterns or are too primitive to matter. We're creating something it's never seen before." The alien commander, who now preferred to be called first speaker of the new way, looked at his own fleet with pride. Each ship was different now, modified by its crew in unique ways while still working in harmony with the others. Order and chaos in perfect balance. "My people feared chaos because we didn't understand its purpose," the first speaker said. "We thought the pattern was perfect because we never imagined perfection could be the most dangerous thing of all." Thompson stood on his bridge, watching human and alien crews working together, each bringing their own ways of thinking to every problem. Sometimes the best way to face darkness is to become something new, he said, something unpredictable. The combined fleet gathered around the sun, now transformed into something neither human nor alien, but a perfect blend of both. They would be ready when the hunter arrived. Their weapons were unlike anything it had ever faced. Part pattern, part chaos, impossible to predict or counter. "Send word to Earth," Thompson ordered. "Tell them we've made contact with an alien civilization, and together we're preparing to face a threat to all life. And tell them to spread the word to every human colony and ship. The time has come to show the galaxy why humanity's chaos might just be the key to saving it all." The first speaker added his own message to his people. "The pattern protected us until we were ready. Now, with humanity's help, we become something greater than the pattern ever planned. We become free." As the messages spread across space, the fleet began its preparations. In less than a year, they would face the darkness that had haunted the ancestors' nightmares. But this time, they would face it with the perfect weapon. The combined strength of human unpredictability and alien precision united at last.